In January 1956, 15-year-old Shirley Hitchings walked into her bedroom in South London and found a 2-inch silver key resting quietly on her pillow. What started with a mysterious key soon escalated to relentless metallic tapping inside the walls. The disturbances eventually spilled out into the open, with bedsheets yanked off sleeping family members and piles of linens spontaneously erupting into flames. The entity haunting 63 Whitecliff Road quickly developed a bizarre personality. It demanded Shirley play with dolls, forced the BBC to broadcast its antics, and eventually started leaving poorly spelled, typewritten notes claiming to be the spirit of actor James Dean. This ordeal consumed the Hitchings family for 12 grueling years. The father lost his driving position on the London Underground due to sheer exhaustion, while the household endured constant police raids and failed exorcisms. Because the Battersea case defies the standard rules of a typical ghost story, we can use these documented, bizarre events as physical evidence to test the 3 main theories investigators propose to explain the house. The first hypothesis suggests this entire saga was an elaborate trick orchestrated by Shirley herself to capture public attention. Reporters visiting the house believed they had caught her red-handed. Several journalists claimed the mysterious tapping sounds corresponded perfectly with subtle movements of Shirley's feet, concluding she was simply cracking her toe joints against the floorboards. Behaviorally, the entity, which they eventually nicknamed Donald, seemed to mirror Shirley's own life. Donald shared her mild dyslexia and specific spelling errors, obsessed over the same television actors she liked, and even developed crushes on the exact same visiting reporters. Faster, more urgent tone. However, the hoax theory fractures when confronted with the more violent physical phenomena. A cracked toe joint cannot produce a deafening bang heard 4 houses down the street, nor can it explain heavy furniture levitating or the severe burns Shirley's father suffered while trying to extinguish spontaneous fires. Psychologically, it seems improbable that a 15-year-old would maintain a daily charade, costing her multiple jobs, ruined her entire youth, and nearly got her family evicted, all without confessing for over a decade. Investigator Harold Shebett championed an alternative. The Whitecliff Road home acted as a portal for a genuine earthbound spirit. Shebett witnessed physical evidence that couldn't be easily dismissed. Scissors flew through the air, objects vanished from mantels, and the family would return home to find upstairs bedrooms arranged with chairs in a circle, spaces where Donald claimed to hold meetings with his statesmen. But Donald's backstory completely undermined his credibility. Initially, he claimed to be a 15-year-old boy who drowned in the English Channel. Months later, he insisted he was actually the deceased son of French King Louis XVI. When pressed for details, his historical facts rarely matched actual records. He would slip French words into his letters, but they read like broken translations from someone who had no grasp of the language. The spirit theory reached its breaking point when Donald abandoned his French royalty persona entirely to claim he was the deceased Hollywood actor James Dean. He began aggressively typing out letters to the family using an old manual typewriter, complaining about being lost, and writing in American slang, demanding to know how to get back to California. Donald behaved less like a coherent historical figure and much more like an invisible sponge, absorbing elements of 1950s pop culture, television broadcasts, and the interests of the people giving him attention. This leads us to a third explanation proposed by a parapsychologist, Andrew Green. He moved past theories of ghosts and pranks, identifying the phenomena as a psychokinetic manifestation. This visualization shows the concept of unconscious telekinesis. Parapsychologists propose that extreme emotional stress or the turbulent biological transition of puberty can act as a trigger. As internal stress builds up, the mind attempts to release the pressure. Instead of expressing that stress emotionally, the energy forces itself outward into the physical environment. This unconscious projection causes objects to vibrate, furniture to move, or loud noises to manifest in the walls, without the person ever realizing they are the source. Under this theory, Donald's letters were the result of psychological dissociation and automatic writing. Shirley's own mind was authoring the messages while she was in a trance-like state, leaving her with absolutely no memory of putting pen to paper. This resolves the case's contradictions by explaining why the entity shared Shirley's exact spelling errors, why it was obsessed with her crushes, and how genuine, verifiable physical phenomena occurred when she was present. This framework reclassifies the disturbances at Wycliffe Road as an externalization of Shirley's internal world, the physical house itself reacting to the pressure of her mind. After holding the Hitchings family hostage for 12 years, the haunting came to a sudden anticlimactic halt in 1968. The entity simply vanished. As Shirley and her parents finally packed up and moved out of the Wycliffe Road house, they found one last piece of evidence waiting for them, a single envelope containing a note that read, simply, "Goodbye." To this day, Shirley completely denies faking the events. She acknowledges the psychological theories, but still genuinely questions what Donald actually was. The Battersea case remains a paranormal Rorschach test, forcing a choice between a wandering spirit, a desperate hoax, or a physical manifestation of trauma. The story of 63 Wycliffe Road points to a chilling conclusion, that the human mind itself may possess an uncharted, volatile power capable of reshaping the physical world.